The Slater Mill is a historic water-powered textile mill complex in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Built in 1793, it helped kickstart the American Industrial Revolution thanks to the power of the Blackstone River. But behind the triumph lies a darker truth. Child labor was a key factor in the factory's success. And did I mention it's haunted as fuck? Today, we explore the Slater Mill. Welcome to Ghost Binkers.
I always want like a live studio audience to clap when you finish your.
Amy was supposed to be here.
That song feels like it leads into a live studio audience clapping. For
Killian, should we record a little golf clap?
A little.
Thank you. I'll put that.
Great.
I'll put that back in place. I'll definitely edit all of this part out. This won't stay in, and I'll just put that all back like it all happened the way it was supposed to.
I disagree. I think this is great.
Welcome to Ghost Binkers. I'm Trev, and I ever so badly would love to believe in ghosts.
I'm Killian. I don't believe in ghosts because they're not real.
And we have a new guest binker with us, Cal.
Cal Dubinsky. We're going with that. I am I want to be a believer. So
you're kind of
I'm
on
gonna side
my side.
I'm gonna go like 65 to 75% ghosts do exist. I don't think all of them are ill-intentioned, but I do think circumstances play a big part in what they do in the spiritual
We do talk
afterlife.
about that at times.
Yeah.
Together, we are the Ghost Binkers, and on this podcast, we explore real-life spooky stories and haphazardly debunk them with zero credibility. A light binking, so to speak. So we're going to talk about the Slater Mill, which in my researching is interesting mainly for the child labor because
You found that part interesting.
it's the late 1700s. They said, you know what, kids, come on, help old Mammy and Pappy.
Where's that work ethic in America today?
I was gonna say it's gonna be legal in like 2 more years, so give it a sec.
Kids these days just don't understand a hard day's work.
Also, if kids working in factories can make ghosts, like Chicago is gonna have a big problem. There's a lot of 11-year-olds in meatpacking factories.
Are you talking about Chicago Ghost?
I was about to say The Jungle by Upton Sinclair is a
Literally,
precursor to
yeah.
a whole bunch of crap we do not want to explore.
The ending of Upton Sinclair's The Jungle is like he just sees a ghost and gets really scared.
So I might regret this. Mostly the editor half
Always
of
a
me.
good way to start a sentence.
The editor half of me might regret this, but I do have a warm-up question for us today. In honor of like the Slater Mill being on some water, and sometimes they say water channels paranormal stuff.
They say a lot of shit.
What do you think the ghosts of the Titanic are doing right now? Do you think they're under the water right now, or did they float to the surface?
I think I know what they're saying to you.
What's that?
Just as they drowned the
Is
depths.
this is a pre-planned bit?
No.
For a little.
No, pre-planned, and do not clip that.
Oh, I'm definitely clipping that, Cal.
Is the asshole still playing the cello?
It's
Been like 100
that's a
fucking
great
years,
question.
and he just keeps playing, Rachmaninoff
But
on the fucking
is he
cello.
playing the cello under the water is the main question that I have.
Gotta be right.
I guess.
Well, isn't Leo's character Jack, isn't he a ghost?
Yeah, and like the
Because Rose claims that this guy existed, but there's no documentation of it.
that feels like
He's a spirit.
It feels like he's in like a separate realm. Like it doesn't feel like they're physically under the water. It feels like they're in the Titanic in a separate world.
Okay, so it's like we talked about this on episode 2, Lizzie Borden, where Lizzie's stepmom was making the bed, and we talked about moving the bed, but like, would she still make the bed even if the bed?
Her
was
famous
moved?
unfulfilled mission of making the bed over and over again.
Me every morning.
It's a time loop.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. I think there's a couple options, right? You're under the water, and it's too dark to see, but ghosts can see probably because they remember being able to see when they were alive or whatever the fuck. And then
Ghosts have dark vision.
the ghosts are floating like 35 feet above
Zero
the
ghost
water,
30.
right? Because the other one is like they're acting like they're on the ship, so they'd be floating above the water.
Oh.
So they'd be like walking around on the deck, and you could like take a little speedboat and see them walking around the deck
Never
above
let
you.
go, Jack.
Yeah, you can watch them like kissing or whatever. fucking in that car. I think.
Paint me like one of your French ghosts.
You can watch them steaming up the car windows. But it's like
my.
cold steam because it's a good, it's frost.
I need like a wolf whistle button on
Yeah.
this, like a little. Yeah, exactly.
And then the other option is they're in a different plane. They're in wherever the old lady went when she died at the end of the Titanic.
Heaven, hopefully, because
She goes down in the submarine at the
you
very
think-
end. She throws the amulet
Ocean Gate
or whatever.
submarine?
That huge ass
She
diamond.
was the reason the Titan submarine exploded. She's just too shitty of a driver, and it just popped and crushed her. Do you think in heaven they make little playrooms for them? Like you're in your little Titanic room in heaven, and God's like, yeah, sure, fuck around in the
that would-
Titanic room.
That would be kind of cute.
You know, I'm in a McDonald's ball pit for the rest of my life because the one time I was happy.
Ghost or not, you're floating. Let me just say that.
So I guess we don't really know what would happen, but I like the idea of the Titanic ball pit.
I think the most interesting is that they're under the water because then I feel like that would be that you could find it and be like, whoa.
Yeah,
Underwater ghosts.
Yeah. Surface of the water, it's like, yeah, you looked at some stars and got dizzy. But under the water, it's like, whoa, there's like crabs down there, you know, and then ghosts.
Yeah, we could probably do a whole episode on just how spooky underwater stuff is.
I find that actually scary.
Well, what I find scary is the haunted labor at Slater Mill. This story is brought to us by Spooky South Coast.
I find really good transitions scary.
That was a pretty good
Which
one.
is why I'm not scared.
That was a pretty good transition. This story is brought to us by Spooky South Coast. Our author is Kira Emily. I appreciate Kira for writing this story. On the banks of the Blackstone River in 1793, American industry was born. Samuel Slater, following British design, erected the first textile mill in the New World using the waters of the Blackstone to power his machinery. The Wilkinson Mill was built just yards away in 1810. An 8-ton wheel under the newer factory also used the energy of the river's flow as its driving force. Presently, they sit on a 5-acre plot in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. In the 1960s, the city of Pawtucket moved a tiny dwelling to the site. The house, built in 1758, was owned by Sylvanus Brown, a man instrumental in the success of both mills. Presently, all 3 buildings serve as a living museum, alluring the public with a taste of the rich history of the Ocean State. It's also said to be extremely haunted.
Another Brown also.
Another Brown.
Mercelina Brown.
I feel like
Sylvanus Brown.
What we've learned from these Rhode Island stories is there's like 2 last names you can have.
Yeah.
There's Williams or Brown, and those are the 2 you can be.
Roger Williams.
Roger Williams.
And Moses Brown.
And Moses Brown, yeah.
Some big players in the Rhode Island history.
Moses Brown, actually, he had a pickup line. He would go up to a broad and he'd say, "Hey, you want to go Brown Town? Hey, you want to go Brown Town with old Moses Brown?"
Are you a Williams? Because you're the only Will I am.
Oh,
there you go.
Whoa. I like how they decided to like move this ancient brittle house from whatever location it started in.
Yeah, I don't know
and
how
just,
that works.
just plop it on the plot
Put it on a
because they're
big
like,
truck?
well, I might as well make it a museum, right?
Just put it on a big truck and drive it over.
I guess.
Put it in the water. Maybe they took it apart and rebuilt it like single piece of wood by piece of wood.
Oh, is
you know?
this like the ship of
It's
Theseus?
sort of the ship of Theseus, yeah, type deal.
Or maybe like one of you guys said put it on the water. They just put it on like a little raft and floated it down the
I was like,
Blackstone.
maybe they just cut the ground out and let the ground like drift down the water and then just like push the ground over. Also, do the ghosts follow the house? We're gonna get into that, I guess, but that's ridiculous.
Do the ghosts what?
Follow the house. So if a ghost is haunting a house and you move the house, does the ghost go with it?
It depends on if they're attached to the house or the land.
Well, I'm asking you which one they're attached to.
Well, I guess
per ghost rules.
I guess we'll have.
Why would
to
a ghost
read.
be attached to the land?
Killian has a lot of questions about 30 sentences into this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no.
This is the podcast.
Unfortunately, once something adjacent to a ghost rule comes up, it's going to stop me for a while.
There you go.
A land tide ghost would be probably one such in a war somewhere that's relevant to a tragic death or something.
The ghost of Gettysburg.
The hitchhiker, the phantom hitchhiker of Route 44, whereas like Lizzie Borden might be tied to a house. There's a dark history associated with the factories, one that literally haunts the area to this day. Child labor was popular in those days, and young children were employed in the mills to help run the heavy machinery. When the machines jammed or the thread snapped, the children were the only ones small enough to fit underneath
rocks.
them to fix the problem.
That's so funny. I love that. It's like one of the best reasons for child labor is like, oh, we just built everything so that only children can die inside the machines. we built the death tunnels exactly children's size.
Just small enough for you to get in. I can't get in there, but you can.
Aw, man, the gears are built too close to the floor. Billy, get on in there, buddy.
Because it feels like a child should just be like, hey, why don't you build it like twice as big? Why don't you make the tunnel bigger so you could climb in there? And
Why
like,
didn't you?
It's gotta be you, bud.
There's a lot of ceiling space. Why didn't you just make that like 2 feet taller?
I got the plans from Europe.
Metric system, am I right?
Just following the instructions.
The conversion rate's just it's way off.
Time and precision were vital. If the children were unable to retreat quickly enough, they would likely pay with limb or life. Today, childlike apparitions and voices are reported throughout both Slater and Wilkinson mills by visitors and staff alike. Adding to the legends, the nearby Sylvanus Brown house also has its reports of unexplainable sightings of a little girl apparition inside the house. Her laughter and footsteps can be heard often, despite the fact that no children are in the house. The tiny energies are frequent and intense throughout the entire site, drawing the masses more than 200 years later. Tiny energies sounds like so sad. Like they're
Tiny energies.
Did a child die in the house?
That's a great
Are we going to get into that? No, it doesn't sound like we are based on how you said that.
I think we'll probably get into
Okay.
It was I bit my tongue when I said that.
The tiny energies moved your tongue to the wrong place.
The tiny energies are pushing my tongue around. It was a balmy night in late April when I stepped into the Slater Mill for the first time. In all honesty, I didn't know much about the history of any of the buildings that I was about to investigate, only that they were reportedly haunted. Being a paranormal investigator in southern New England, I had been introduced to many areas and structures that had paranormal legends attached, but not one of them would have the lasting effect that Slater Mill had on me that night. It was a public event, and I wasn't expecting much when I arrived.
So she is speaking now from her own perspective as a Southern New England.
As a Southern New England paranormal investigator, Area 1, Slater Mill. My night began in Slater Mill proper, in the darkened shadows of the silent factory. We were encouraged to explore on our own, wandering through the ambient light. I slipped around one of the looms and came face to face with a wax figure dressed in period clothes. I love the wording of that one. Period clothes.
When my wife's wearing sweatpants and a loose hoodie, you know,
Holding a box of chocolates.
Yeah. So this is a public event. Other people are at.
This is a public event. They sent a public schedule for where the ghosts are going to be.
I'm gonna go ahead and fly the
6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m.
I'm gonna go ahead and fly the business interest.
Kayla will deliver remarks about a
Business
special.
interest combined hysteria flag a little early, you know.
We need like a.
Me and 300 people were making noise and trying to be scared a lot, and then you know.
I can I'll 3D print a flag that you can just slap on the table anytime you're like business interest. Startled by its eerie, lifelike qualities, I flinched but quickly recovered. I shook my head and turned away.
I was barely scared of the wax man. Yeah, I screamed a little bit, but it wasn't that long of a scream.
I only slightly wet my pants. I shook my head and turned away, intent on exploring more of the mill, but a sudden wave of fear washed over me, pushing me out of the corner and into the middle of the room. I was drawn toward an opening in the floor in front of me, but before I could reach it, a painting on a nearby wall stole my attention. That's called ADHD.
Also, this room is full of shit. There is so much stuff in here.
There's something in the floor.
There's a hole in the floor.
wall.
There's paintings. There's wax figures.
Period clothes.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things.
This is Ben Stiller.
Night at the museum. Well, it is a museum, and it is nighttime.
This is the screenplay for Night at the Museum 4.
Someone was speaking to the group, but I couldn't understand the words. My last moments of normal were slipping away from me. It feels really
Just
soon.
before.
You saw a wax figure and a painting.
And a hole in the floor.
Yeah.
That's the trifecta.
Was it like a regular hole or like a demon hole? Like, was it just a gap in the
There's
floor?
like three of the Horcruxes right
an
there. You're
opening
like,
in the floor.
It's going down.
It's like a really old building, man. The floors might be a little gappy. I don't know. Okay, so she's having a panic attack.
Yeah.
She's having an anxiety attack in the middle of this tour. How close are the other people here? She's not going to say. You don't know that information. But I'm asking it to the world.
Someone was speaking to the group, but I couldn't understand the words. The room was getting darker.
She's with like a Mandarin Chinese tour group, and you just can't understand him at all. She's like, "This is so strange." He's speaking in a language I can't understand.
That happened to me the first
Korean
time.
bus of strangers, you know.
The first time I heard Korean rap, I was like, wow, mumble rap is getting so bad. They're not even saying real words anymore.
A lot of K-pop, they'll just like drop a couple random English words.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, "Oh, was the whole thing in English?" And you have to go back and you're like, "I don't think so."
It's Korean. Okay. All right. I feel better now. I'm not losing my last moments of normal. Something was happening to me that I couldn't explain
Puberty.
then, and still can't explain to this day. The next moments can only be described as cartoon-like in nature.
Dude, I think you could describe them another way. I think there's other words to use. I saw a pretty lady, and I went, "Oh," and my eyes bonged out of my head on springs.
I had what the experts call a wacky experience.
My tongue unfurled like a red carpet, and I had to slurp it back up.
I walked over the hole in the floor and took 2 steps and looked down and then fell.
The tour guide hit me with a big hammer, and a big bump appeared on my head, and I had to bump it back down with my fists.
A ghost held a gun out to me and I stuck my finger in it and it backfired when they shot me.
This is incredible, man. This is so good.
I was just going to see how long we could keep going.
Hundreds of them. I was so scared of the ghost that I ran really fast until my legs became 2 wheels.
The ghost ran through the painting and then I crashed into the wall.
I tried to run through a door, but it turned out the ghost had painted it on the wall, tricking me.
If I weren't there to experience it, I would have never believed it. My reality was quickly dissolving before my eyes.
This is like, I know I've said this 4 times now. The fastest someone has broke down in front of a ghost since the guy who was scared of the ghost on Route 44. This is a quick breakdown.
The mannequin, I think, triggered it.
This is like, I'm gonna say, you know, I'm sure Kira's a wonderful lady, person,
Absolutely.
investigator. You got to be a little sturdier on the hunts, girl. You cannot. You're supposed to see a ghost. What if you saw an actual fucking ghost? What if he threw a lamp at you? You just immediately, she would explode. She'd die.
It's definitely got to be the aura of Slater House that's getting to her, or the Slater Mill that's getting to her right now, because
Yeah.
I'm with Killian. So far,
Very quick.
Nothing-
the wax figures and paintings aren't quite doing it for me.
Nothing really has happened yet.
But I'm open to it. Kira sounds like she's got a good head on her
That's what I'm
shoulders.
saying. She's this is her job. She's ready. She's locked in. I feel like in 3 paragraphs she's going to be like, also, I have a crippling fear of wax figures.
that would be
My mom died in a wax figure factory. I'm terrified of them.
Just a quick asterisk on this story.
Yeah.
Paintings freak me the hell.
that would be really unfortunate for the Slater Mill complex. If that was
That would be a lot.
That was her one like phobia, and they're like, actually, it's full of those things. My reality was quickly dissolving before my eyes, and oddly enough, I had no idea. My memory from that point on would be sporadic, only enabling me to recall the moments of a paranormal nature. To this day, much of that experience is permanently lost to a situation-specific amnesia that has no plausible reasoning.
Is the suggestion that she did a bunch of normal shit too? Because she said, like, I can only remember the paranormal stuff. I can't remember the regular stuff. How much regular stuff do you think you're forgetting? It's a ghost hunt. You're being haunted by a ghost. Do you think you were like, oh, I played a game of checkers, I did a crossword puzzle, got haunted, 10 minutes, can't remember what happened after. I think I probably like played a game of basketball outside. Like, you were haunted for quite some time. It's fine.
I am picturing her like just walking into the mill, like maybe looking at like a guide or something, and then she looks up and gets jump scared by the wax figure,
Immediately, like,
and starts spiraling, and she's like, no, what's happening to me? And she's just like losing her mind.
That's tough, man.
That does suck, you know? It sometimes be like that. My body felt like it was shrinking to the size of a small child.
Whoa. That's a new detail. That's a new one.
That is a
for
new one.
Hauntings. Is she suggesting a sort of Rick Moranis style Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type ghost? An ant was bigger than my house.
Either she was shrinking or just, her mind was warping.
A big ladybug threatened to eat me, but then a spider ate it instead.
And said, you remember this moment.
There was a giant peach and a boy named James.
I got stuck in a single drop of rain and was floating around in it for hours.
Until a caterpillar drank the water.
What I'm learning is that we should be writing movies right now with our time.
The floor beneath my feet began to swirl out of control like a wooden whirlpool, threatening to rip me into an unknown oblivion. Terror seized me by the throat. I wanted to scream, but I had no voice. I stumbled backwards, falling away from the dark and consuming energy until the fear lost its grip.
It's probably good that she didn't scream because there's a tour going on. You would have disturbed the other guests.
She's a great
You're just
writer.
screaming.
I'm invested.
Probably the best writer we've had so far.
Oh, absolutely.
The wooden whirlpool is leagues above,
I'm wondering what this
expected.
is all leading to.
Well,
Because so far, it's led to wax figures, a painting, and a mysterious hole in the floor. Was it?
Sort of a bad vibe.
Yeah.
One thing I'll commend Kira for right now is she is painting the picture, not the painting on the wall.
Whoa,
Thank
that's
God.
a trigger word.
Painting the picture of this like fear-based tripping and like taking us through every single little synapse
God.
of the trip.
Could you imagine if at the end she was like, and I realized I was on LSD the entire time? I doubt it. But right now, everything's possible.
The whole time I was in my house. The floor stopped swirling and I began to regain my ground. Fighting to justify those moments, I tried again to join the group in the middle of the room. One step forward threw me back into the raging and crippling fear as the darkness enveloped me. So she snapped out of it and took one step forward and then immediately started tripping again.
She's having a tough time. Look, I can't. Look.
This is what the experts call a rough time.
I thought you were going to say a real ghost word for a second. I was tuned in.
No, I made that part up. Desperate, I backed away from it until the feeling again abated. My persistence and the energy fought each other, using my body as a pawn, pushing me further and further backwards through the mill. The ancient machinery was still operational, and as the looms sprang to life in demonstration, the terror literally paralyzed me. Again, I was racked with the urge to scream, and again, I was denied a voice. As the machines finally died down, and the mill once again became silent, I found myself with my back pressed against the door. I was soaked with sweat and shaking like a leaf. I had to get out of there. That was Area 1.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was the first part.
that was the first part.
I'll say that sounds like a tough time.
Just
So we still don't know what she saw.
I have to assume that was like a 20-minute span of time of just tripping balls.
Like a really bad vibe.
horrible vibe.
Yeah.
Just tripping hard.
Again, I'm sure that really
This is no
sucked.
bueno.
It sounds like it sucked.
Cinco de Mayo, Bingo de Mayo.
Banco de Mayo. Yeah, I think you were kind of spot on with like a panic attack or something.
Again, I don't love being like, actually, it was a gas leak inside of the. Those looms run on old fuel, and sometimes it can burn very, but it does kind of sound exactly like what a panic attack is.
Well,
if you never had one before, and you have a panic attack for the first time because a wax figure scared you, it would feel bad like that.
Well, yeah, because like I have only had one ever in my life, and I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah, that's very common.
And I could imagine that if I was in like a really scary, spooky place, and I had just been jump scared by a wax mannequin, I probably would be like flipping the fuck out.
I also, I am a lifelong sufferer of night terrors, and if I get out of the bed, like off
During a night terror?
yeah, like if I manage to get up and like look for something, a hole in the floor is one of it's a very common thing.
Oh.
A hole in the floor.
Like thinking you see a hole in the floor. I remember as a kid, I woke up and like I thought I saw a ghost of my mother walked by the room, and I was like afraid it was a ghost. And I was very confused, and I tried to get up out of my bed, and then like I had like a dresser against the wall, and then the floor was like a big hole. And I was like, I felt like I was gonna fall in. I was like, I remember pressing my little 8-year-old body to the dresser to like slide by the holes to not fall in.
Oh my God.
And then I like went to my parents' room and went to sleep. And then I woke up the next day and was like, oh, I think I was having a bad dream.
Do you think if you fell into that hole, you would be eternally cursed to fall forever?
No, I think like the evil killing would have climbed out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kind of like Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think
Like,
yeah.
Oh.
I think like the cooler version of me would have like climbed out of the hole.
that's kind of scary.
Area 2, the Wilkinson Mill. I was separated from my group when I escaped Slater Mill for an unknown amount of time. I think I was...
This is the same night.
This is the same night.
Okay.
Yeah. This is all
Good
a
to know.
one-night
Good to
tour.
know.
It's a one-night trip.
One-night trip.
I think I was just aware of the sudden wave of movement of the guests and followed it. I followed a group into the Wilkinson Mill, though I can't say for sure that I belonged with them. At that point, I couldn't say anything for sure. Wilkinson Mill was physically silent, though the energy was buzzing through me as I walked through the door. I was drawn to the back of the mill and found myself standing at the top of the basement stairs. I could see an energy, a man, waiting for me to follow him down the stairs.
So she's calling them energies.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, which, you know...
So she's feeling a force and a presence. It's not just some object. She's feeling this.
It touches upon one of the types of ghost belief is that ghosts are an energy rather than like a
spirit?
like ectoplasm or something. You know, it's just like residual energy or something like that. Who's the man though? Maybe it's Sylvanus Brown of the Rhode Island Browns.
Maybe it's one of the children grown up.
Maybe it's one of the grown-up
Great
ghosts.
football team.
Can ghosts grow up?
That's a great
Can ghosts
question,
age
Killy.
if they want to?
I would say if I were making up the ghost rules,
You are.
no.
Okay.
No, they cannot.
That's tough.
They're not allowed to age.
Or you're 8 forever.
You're 8 forever.
Yeah, the age you die at.
That's
your eternal age.
That's what I would think, but then sometimes like the really old people die and they come back as their prime. So maybe you just
Come back as your prime.
come back as your prime form.
You get to pick.
You get to pick.
You get to pick. I like that.
You get to pick. You have 5 seconds when you die, from between the time you die and the time you become a ghost, to pick what form you want.
Intentionally ghosting myself so I can be 26 and hot forever, you know?
I panic and just say, stick of butter. And just a stick of butter.
Oh,
for the
yes.
rest of my
I
life.
came back as Channing Tatum.
Whoops. I don't know how
Look
that
at me now,
happened.
Cindy from 7th grade homeroom. Look at that glow up.
I could see an energy, a man waiting for me to follow him down the stairs. Suddenly, I was at the bottom of the stairs, and I wasn't sure how I got there.
I have a theory. I think she walked down the stairs.
Are you sure?
I think so, yeah.
Could she have perhaps floated
I don't
down
think
the
she floated. I
stairs?
think she walked down the stairs.
Could the energy perhaps lifted her down the stairs with its big, strong, hulking, but
Maybe-
gentle and tender arms?
Maybe the energy like lifted her feet one by one and walked her down the stairs.
it's like when I pick up my cat and make him walk. Yeah. it does that to
Or
her.
it's like the Stairmaster at the gym where it like moves your feet for you.
Oh.
underneath, you know?
It's like playing with an action figure, just kind of like.
Or maybe it was an escalator. She was just standing on the top
those
step.
things that senior citizens use to just kind of
the chairlift.
It's just all the way down.
God, the ghost must have been so pissed if that was. Imagine like a minute and a half to get down.
He's
the
waiting. He's just in there like, okay.
Come on, hurry
I'm going
up.
to turn back in energy if you don't get down the stairs faster.
I'm just thinking of the ghost when they were installing the chairlift. You're just trying to like haunt people and you just hear
I thought you were suggesting the ghosts installed it. like the people get back and they're like, who put this
Look,
here?
I haunt people of all
the
ages.
ghosts
I gotta make
the
sure
ghosts
that
tonight were like,
it's accessible.
we're haunting, we're not ableist. We want people in wheelchairs to get haunted too.
we want to scare people, not hate them.
I was there to chastise someone, but nobody was there. Seconds later, I was again upstairs in one corner of the workshop. In the next moment, I was on the other side of the room, standing in front of a rocking chair. The words, "Rock the chair," rang in my ears, and I was forced to sit.
That's kind of spooky.
Put on the propeller beanie.
Do a full loop on the swing set.
I'm picturing her like teleporting around the room. Though.
Yeah, it is a very
like
she's giving like a Dr. Manhattan speech right now.
like
The year is 2020. I'm in the chair. The year is 1945. I'm in the chair.
she's just in the chair forever. I was
I am
suddenly
a painting.
I am a wax figure.
Oh my god! Do you
A
think
young woman is being scared of me. It's me.
she's the wax
I'm afraid of
figure who
myself.
scared herself?
I am my mirror self.
I was suddenly filled with a sadness that ripped my heart from my chest. My only thought was that my baby was gone and I wanted to cry. My breath caught in my throat and the tears well up in my eyes. Just before they could fall, however, the feeling suddenly lifted and the words, "That's enough," rang in my ears. I was able to stand and walk away. My only other memory was the energy that sparked the granite walls. It reached high above us throughout each level of the historic factory. The next thing I knew, I was standing in the wheel room of the Wilkinson Mill.
So you're transported to Area 3? Or back to the main part of Area 2?
Back to the main part of Area 2.
Cal, your instincts are spot on. We're moving to Area 3.
Oh, but Area 3 is a part of the Wilkinson Mill,
It's
which
still
is where...
part of- yeah.
Okay, because I was going to
So,
say, excuse me, Area 2 is the Wilkinson Mill.
Technically,
How dare you?
Technically, we should probably call it like Area 2B
I get you.
or
I get
something.
you. 2B. I'm a big 2B person.
But it is titled Area 3 here. I feel like the ghost was just like, sit in this chair, feel what I feel, and then was like, you felt it, now go.
All right, fine. 3 seconds of my pain is enough.
Do you think everyone had to do that? You think it was just kind of like one of those rides with like a simulation ride? They're like, sit down, they strap you in, you go, and then...
All right, that's enough.
What do you do if you're with your like company? You're with your like work on like a company outing at the ghost tour, and you just watch a girl like go down the stairs and then just start crying and sit in the chair and cry more, and then gets up and just like runs up to the mill, and you're just like, what the fuck? You got like your marg that you got served because your company paid for 2 drinks, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
You threw out the drink, that shit spiked.
Yeah.
I never actually like really internalized like seeing that as an outsider. Like that is actually really crazy to like.
I feel like I did that with the prom too. I'm really concerned about other people in these hauntings and what's going on.
She's just like literally like running around to each corner and just going. And then, yeah, Kira, I'm sorry you went through this. This is
a bad Easter
It
egg
seems
hunt.
very bad.
in the
for
words
record.
of Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's rough, buddy.
Area 3, 2B, Wilkinson Mill, Wheel Room. My time in the wheel room is a haze. My movements were trance-like as I walked through the intense energy. I stayed near the edges of the room and only turned away from the wall for a mere moment, and in that moment, a burning sensation moved across my back. It is suggested that phantom scratches have this very characteristic, and I was worried that I had gotten attacked. I stepped out of the wheel room and instantly found myself in the bathroom back inside Slater Mill. I ripped off my t-shirt, and sweatshirt and threw them on the floor. Standing half naked.
You're just watching. You're on the tour and she forgot to close the door, and you're like, what is she doing?
Standing half naked in the middle of the room,
Bro, this tour is free.
I desperately tried to look at my back, but the red mist that surrounded me made it impossible.
Gotta mention the red mist before it comes up.
Wait. Didn't we have blue mist earlier?
The red. That was my brain during the disc golf adventure.
Oh my god!
As you can see, I'm very in tune with ghosts.
I thought this was Killian's ghost story.
I'm very in tune with ghosts. Does she mean a physical red mist,
I don't.
or like a
is this like
a
an
mental red
emotional?
mist?
Yeah, I actually don't really know.
Is it misty in there? Do they have a fog machine?
It is a bathroom. There's
Famously red misty type places.
you know, I guess my thought would be maybe it's like kind of foggy in there, and there's like a red light or something.
Yeah.
Because you got to get the vibes. We got the vibes in here. Mm-hmm. You got to have some vibes. So maybe they had a red light to make the bathroom feel spookier.
Right.
But
It's nighttime here, right?
It is nighttime,
She-
yeah.
She mentioned it being dark and stuff.
and it would be
like night-
it would be tough to see a scratch on your back through red mist because the scratch is probably red.
It'd be tough to see a lot of stuff through red mist.
Yeah. How thick is the mist?
Also, it's tough just to see a scratch on your back in the mirror anyway. depending on where it is.
That's true.
That's stuff like that. You gotta have like a second mirror.
That's why I always carry my trusty
Strong,
second Ghost
strong
Binker
neck
mirror.
muscles.
Suddenly, I was at home getting my hand mirror. Then I was back at the mill. Now I could see the middle of my back properly.
The energy took me home to grab my necessity.
I forgot my Nintendo Switch.
I had to go back
Luckily,
for that too.
the energy brought me home.
And I completed Rainbow Road.
Maybe that moment should have been an alert that something was
The red mist.
An alert.
Something about the red color gave it away as this could be bad.
Once I started puking up blood, and the green goo came from the walls. Something should have let me know things were wrong.
Maybe that moment should have been an alert that something was frightfully wrong.
Okay, it's a little Halloween for me, Kira.
There were a few moments through the night where I did find a fleeting grasp on reality, wondering where I was and what was happening to me. But those moments were quickly replaced with blackouts.
They sound really firmly grasped on reality. They last for 2 seconds, and you have no idea what's going on while they're happening.
Those moments were quickly replaced with blackouts and trances that nobody noticed. I was lost, trapped inside my own body, and I had no idea. Nobody did. My next clear memory came in the Sylvanus Brown house. How I got there.
4.
How I got there still remains a mystery.
I have an idea. I think she walked from the mill.
And then what?
Open the door. Is this like what? Making a peanut butter jelly sandwich?
Yeah.
Unscrew the lid. Put the knife in the peanut butter.
You never got the peanut
didn't
butter
take the
because you
bread
didn't
out of the
You didn't
bag.
take the peanut butter out of the pantry.
Oh my God.
Again, I think it's. I've never heard of a panic attack that lasts this long. So I don't really.
An indeterminate amount of time.
Yeah, I mean,
You never heard of a panic attack in which you have no sense of time at all?
I would have to assume like this has to have been at least a half hour. At this
I'm
point.
developing a new theory. It's like 3 panic attacks.
Three
It's just,
separate
it's just some
ones.
back-to-backers.
Do you think it's a panic attack because of the first panic attack?
I think it's like a 3-stage panic attack.
And then the second one is like, holy fuck, a panic attack can trigger a panic attack. And
Yeah.
then she has a third one
Yeah.
because she just learned you can have a panic attack from a panic attack.
Well, normally you have a panic attack and then you address it. So I'm suggesting that the panic attack is not being addressed promptly, and you're just kind of rehabbing it again. You know?
When would she have had time to go to the
Yeah, no,
hospital
No,
between
I don't think so. Is what I'm saying.
I think she tried to address it in the bathroom.
she did take a step backwards.
She did try to undress it in the bathroom. So that would hopefully address it. But
Yeah.
the red mist got in the way.
Yeah, it was protecting
Hard to see.
It was protecting our eyes from boobs in the story. You know, the mist was just a nudity obscuring filter.
These things happen in a red misty bathroom in the Wilkinson Mill. Area 4, the Sylvanus Brown house. We walked through the tiny rooms on the first floor. The groups that she's been with, or like following.
she's been having
she's
this
sort of
following
entire
these groups.
experience.
She sort of keeps saying like, I don't know how I got here, and then it sounds like she's with the tour group the whole time, and they're like, go to this place next, follow me.
Yeah.
And then she gets there and she's like, how did I get here? And it's like, I think you and all of the other people are going to the same place.
Well, yes, yeah,
Okay.
but
So all these people
doesn't
having
remember.
similar experiences.
There's like 40 people who are like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Did you see that goddamn painting?
Did you see the red mist in the bathroom?
did you see that wax figure in the
I
lobby?
pulled out my dick in the bathroom. I couldn't even see it through the red mist.
Did you guys take the rock? Did you guys run the rocking chair?
She was so sad. The fuck?
For like a minute.
I love that the rocking chair ride.
The
She had actually put in quarters to get
the chair of unbearable grief and sadness.
And the reason the guy was like, "That's enough," is because there's a lot of 40 people. We got,
that was the 30 seconds. Or
yeah,
so.
we got to keep it moving here. Like, there's a lot of good paying customers to get into that. Sorry, it's not a you thing. It's a business thing.
It's just we got to keep things moving.
It's a circle.
I gave you a second free ride already.
We are a mill. We don't really have subsidized grants and things like it. We pay to ride the fucking chair.
I do really like the idea that the entire tour group is also shocked how they get from place to place.
The whirling whirlpool is just like one of those like rides where they spin you around in the middle of the thing.
Honestly,
The floor is spinning.
the Slater Mill theme park is about to go hard in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Hell yeah.
That's what the next thing we need.
The nightmare stairs, the spinning floor.
We walked through the tiny rooms on the first floor, led to the sitting room. The little girl apparition acquainted with the house had been named Becca by the staff of the site. She had not only been seen gazing through the windows, her laughter and footsteps could be heard throughout the house.
Do they have a reason for naming her Becca? Because it sounds like they didn't.
It sounds like they didn't either.
Okay, so why'd they pick? Come on, man, what the fuck?
I think she was just, she was just a little girl.
Yeah, it's Jenny. You're like, why? I don't know.
Little girl ghost. She
Give
died.
me the name.
She died in the mill. Maybe got lost. Got lost from the mill. Couldn't find her way back. Okay. Got trapped in the Sylvanus Brown house instead.
Maybe she was a land-bound ghost and she hit her head in the parking lot. And then they moved the house there and she was like, fuck, I'm in a house now. I can't move off the land.
She hit her head when she fell off the rocking chair.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're stuck here now.
Laughter, footsteps could be heard through the house, and sometimes people even reported being touched. And if you reach out, our tour guide was saying, you might feel her take your hand. At that moment, I was drained, still fighting whatever had the violent hold over me.
I did just realize that he's reading Kayla as like Rorschach. Rorschach Diary. Oh yeah, Kayla. Sorry, Kira. I've been saying Kayla the entire time. I am so sorry, Kira. We've got Rorschach over here.
I'm picturing Kira fighting for her
These
life.
ghosts are in here with me. That's the second Watchmen reference also so far. It's pretty sick.
That's true.
Yeah.
My head buzzed and my heartbeat fluctuated dangerously. I backed against the wall behind everyone and slowly slid down to a crouching position.
She might need to get like her iron levels checked. She's just passing out all the fucking time.
This is something that I have actually physically experienced before. It's just like, I think I'm going to pass out right now. I held my head in one hand and, as suggested, held the other out, palm up, waiting for the touch. She is like on the brink of death and still so committed to talking to Becca.
I need to find someone else who was on the store with her. I was just like, yeah, Kira was like freaking the fuck out.
Because like she literally just described like her head is buzzing, her heart is beating hard. She like slowly,
I offered her a beer and she slumped in the corner and screamed.
She slowly backs into the wall, slides down, puts her head in her hands, and just puts her hand out to have the ghost touch it. She's committed.
She's got to be muttering the entire time, right? You're just making everyone uncomfortable by just muttering constantly.
You gotta give it credit to her. I think she went in wanting to experience it.
I think so.
I have a sneaking suspicion that she did, yeah.
She is experiencing
so far,
something.
she's been scared of a painting.
Considering
got spooked by a wax figure.
She made it 38 seconds.
Chair.
She made it a full 30 seconds before having the longest meltdown of all time.
I can't wait till we get to the part where it's like, and she wasn't even in Pawtucket at the very end, where it's like, oh god.
The whole time she was at the Marriott Hotel.
The whole time she was in Central Falls.
Oh no. In a moment of pure peace and tranquility, a warming love washed over me. Tiny, icy, cold fingers wrapped around mine.
It sounds so warming.
Grasping with as much might as they could. Stunned, I looked up at my extended hand, but nobody was there.
This ghost isn't a toddler. Kids can do regular grip.
Yeah, but she's...
As much might as it could. A regular kid grip. That's like a pretty good amount.
Yeah, but a tight squeeze feels nice sometimes.
Yeah, from icy cold fingers.
From
icy cold tendrils of a child's hand.
Nobody was there, but still, the tiny grip remained. I was suddenly overwhelmed by the amount of people in the room, and I wanted to hide behind my mommy. I was experiencing her feelings. My first and only thought was to give this child the same peace that she had given me. I wanted to protect her. No, like in this moment, like she felt peace from the little hand grip.
Then icy cold fear.
Well, no, icy cold fingers.
Yeah,
but there's not actually any. Well, okay,
yes,
yeah,
I wanted to hide behind my mommy.
You're right.
Okay, thank you.
In a rare moment of clarity, I gathered.
She did not say in a rare moment of clarity.
In a rare moment of clarity.
The first time I wasn't fucking insane this whole night.
In a rare moment of clarity, I gathered all I could to be sure that little Becca felt safe. Before I could say a word about any of my experience, however, a medium in my group spoke up.
There's a medium in the group.
Oh.
She's overwhelmed by all the people in the room.
Astute analysis.
I get.
The medium was like, Kira's having a panic attack. We need to get her to a hospital. She does not look good. She's very pale. She's overwhelmed by all the people in the room, I think. We should give her some space. And Kira was like, the ghost is, you're right.
It wasn't even
She's
a medium.
freaking
It was just a person.
A nice lady looking out for her.
To suggest that this moment was the most profound moment that I had ever experienced with the paranormal would be an understatement.
I'm sorry, I made fun of it really hard a second ago. My bad.
It was the last clear memory I would have of the investigation, and one that I still carry with me as it still ranks as the most intense and complex experience I have ever had. As the investigation came to an end and we regrouped in Slater Mill, I have only a few other clear memories. I later found 2 photographs on my phone that I do not remember taking. In the first picture...
One was of my lock screen. The other was also of my lock screen. But
slightly different.
But I accidentally opened one of the apps, and it took a picture mid-open of the app. But the app wasn't fully open, but it was obscuring part of the screen.
One was a
How could this have happened?
One was a very blurry close-up of my face because I forgot to flip my camera.
One was the main screen of my gotcha game I was playing.
In the first picture, I can clearly remember the pose, but I do not remember the picture being taken or asking anyone to take it. The second photo, I do not remember asking for or posing. I remember seeing the back of my phone and the Red Sox logo on my phone case.
Hell yeah, brother. Go Sox, kid. Fuck yeah.
Because that was the only thing I could see, and I remember looking down at my hand and wondering if it was actually my hand.
The only thing I could remember was that Devers needs to fucking get hitting already.
Still, I had no idea that anything was wrong. I was
So, 2 regular photos.
2 regular photos that she doesn't really remember taking.
Very scary stuff.
I was on my way home, and I remember confusion as I tried to find the highway.
I hope she was not driving. Okay.
She was driving.
She was for sure. I hope someone else drives.
This trip brought to you by Lyft.
I drove under a bridge and then pulled into my driveway. The frightening part of it was that I live about 20 miles away from the Slater Mill historic site, as the crow flies. Time-wise, it's a 40-minute drive.
Did you add that?
No.
I had to check Google Maps to confirm.
I had to send a crow with a big long string on it.
And then measure the
So she as the crow flies.
So basically, she lives 20 minutes away, like distance-wise, but like driving time, it's like 40 minutes away.
No, I know how miles work.
I remember less than 5 of those
I didn't mean
minutes.
to be that rude. Sorry.
Break that down for me.
Sorry. Also, she's describing a boring drive.
Yeah.
Do you remember every commute to work you have?
No.
No. It's a drive. You're driving, man.
Well, we
Shit
talked.
sucks.
We talked about that in the
That's why
first.
people crash into each
the
other.
first episode. The
Shit's boring.
Hypnagogic and hypnopomadic stuff. You know, when you're driving, you don't really remember things sometimes.
So you think Kira's been hypnotized by a high-level hypnotist? Is what you're saying?
I think driving home in the dark with not a lot of stimulus.
295 is a mysterious place and oftentimes leads to hypnotic experiences
Pretty much.
at local places around Rhode Island.
I'm gonna reread the last sentence of this paragraph.
I remember less than 5 of those minutes.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's a little concerning. You know.
You've never gotten out of the car and work and been like, how the fuck did I get to work?
No, I have.
I don't remember a single moment of
that
this.
happens a lot.
I don't remember getting out of bed this morning and I'm at work now.
All right, this is our last paragraph.
I can tell.
Of the article.
We're at her house, so it's got to end soon.
I went into Slater Mill as a diehard skeptic.
Sounds like she was pretty open-minded.
Sure, bud. You're a paranormal investigator. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that one, Kira. You know, I've been down for the cause this whole time, but that sentence that feels a little bit.
I feel like
false.
if you were a skeptic, you wouldn't be like, I'm a paranormal investigator. You'd be like, I'm someone who disproves stupid ass ghosts.
Although, I mean, I guess you could argue a paranormal investigator might be going into
you could, but who would do
find
that?
nothing.
Who would do that? That's like being like, oh, I'm a cop, but I intentionally don't solve crimes. I prove they weren't crimes. It's like, you're not a cop, then you're just a weird guy.
It's gonna be you as soon as we get some Patreon money.
I know. I'm well aware that I'm gonna have to go to this stupid fucking mill or something, you know?
I wouldn't mind going to this mill.
I'm gonna like talking to the staff, and then you're gonna make me sit in a room for 3 hours by myself.
No. We're gonna make you sit in a rocking chair for 3 hours.
No, a ghost is gonna force you to sit down in a chair.
Dude.
The chair ride, the rocking chair ride.
Bring your quarters.
I went into Slater Mill as a diehard skeptic. I left, well, I don't remember leaving to this day.
Even though I commute, even though I estimated the drive was about 20 miles, but actually,
as the crow flies. To this day, I can't say how I actually left the area. I can't explain what happened to me. I can't explain the persistent amnesia, and I can't explain why I was unable to ask for help. I should probably be scared to death to step foot in Slater Mill again, but I'm not. I look forward to facing that darkness once again, and this time I will triumph.
Because I live.
The end. I do not have hopes for triumphing.
You know, I think actually the staff saw what happened, and they removed the wax figure from the lobby.
Yeah, there's some poor 16-year-old being like, oh God, I gotta move it again.
I gotta move the figure again.
Hey Jason, can you help me move this?
She's crying in the rocking chair again.
Let me go grab my manager.
That rocking chair was from my grandma's house. It has nothing to do with the building.
I find this location interesting just from like a historical museum standpoint. So I would love to go there at some point.
I love all the old history in all these stories, you know?
And the child labor is my favorite part.
Yeah. Not really a lot of kid ghosts in her stories.
There were
a lot of the ghosts were adults.
Yeah.
I know you're going to say there were a lot. There wasn't. There was one kid ghost. The rest were adults. Because one was a man down the stairs. And then one was a woman who talked about her baby and made her sit in the rocking chair.
That's true.
Like, and then it was the warm, cold, icy hand of a child.
The warm, cold,
that made her
icy
feel
hand
very
of a child.
secure, but also was terrified of all the people around her.
Becca, little Becca Brown.
Becca, yeah, named randomly.
Rebecca Black.
Do you think Rebecca Black
Was this on a Friday?
That's a great question.
You're getting down.
Shout out to Rebecca Black making music out there.
Do we think that it's like Sylvanus Brown's ghost daughter or something? Or
I don't think any of it.
Why is she in his house?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get why there's a kid ghost in the one place where kids weren't. Because like the kids were all over the factories. They should be all over there. They should be literally crawling in the walls of the factory.
I mean, I guess it is kind of like what you said. She was a land attached ghost, and they dropped the house on top of her.
Look, I don't understand land attached ghosts anyway, because ghosts can walk through walls, right?
Yes.
So like, how do they follow the movement of the earth through space?
And time.
Yeah. Like they stay. They like. They don't like fall through the earth or anything.
No.
You know, and the Earth's moving like millions of miles through space.
They can choose when to be intangible.
Ghosts can choose so many things. It turns out.
You know, it's like how you can choose to open or close.
Why can't they choose to talk?
They don't have vocal cords, obviously.
Okay. They have hair.
That's an easy one.
They have hair and eyes. They can knock over lamps. They can talk to me.
They don't have any organs. They don't have any insides. It's how they're able to go through the walls.
Also, sometimes they do talk.
Sometimes they do
but
talk.
They just can't choose to.
Can't choose.
When they talk, that is like more psychic.
You know, and Kira talked about energy a lot, and I wonder if she ever felt energy before this moment. Because it sort of seemed like something she understood.
You'd imagine, right? She's a paranormal investigator. This can't be the first one.
I would imagine, and I've never felt energy before, so I'm wondering if she's like predisposed to feeling energy.
That's a good question. So we do have Cal. This is new information for you. We have a Bink scale.
All right.
It's new information for us almost every episode too.
And so we must each individually come up with a score on the Bink scale for this story. 1 means that the story is fully binked, aka no ghosts.
No ghost.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
10, it means it needs a good binking because there's too many ghosts. There's too many ghosts for us to handle.
We can handle any ghost. Because we're the Ghost Binkers.
Right.
I don't want to put out there that we can handle ghosts.
I ain't scared of no ghost. That's our catchphrase.
I ain't scared of no ghost.
Not to be confused with the Ghostbusters catchphrase.
Right.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the famous Ghostbusters catchphrase, I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Isn't that in the theme song?
I would think of who you gonna call. That'd be like where I'd go first.
Well, in the song they say, I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Yeah.
I say I ain't scared of any ghost.
Yeah. Who you gonna text?
It just rolls off the
Ghost
tongue so
Binkers.
naturally.
Who you gonna direct
Email.
message? Who you gonna direct message on Instagram?
Who you gonna subscribe to on Patreon? Ghost Binkers.
So I'll start with my Bink scale here. I do think that Slater Mill could have some pretty spooky energies there. However, I do feel like this specific instance of the Slater Mill was kind of one ongoing, like, wax figure inspired trip. So I'm going to have to give this one like a 3, a 3 on the Bink scale, because it's being pulled up by the potential of what Slater Mill could be. However, I do think we need someone with a little stronger ghost constitution to investigate. No offense, Kira. I think, and she said it. She said it herself. She looks forward to triumphing the next time. This time, I think she's also chalking it up kind of as a loss. So
Right. Well, when she says that, it's clearly the first experience. I feel like she has to go back to truly.
it's kind of like watching a
take in the
movie,
thing. Right?
like a complicated movie.
Right. Like it's keeping in the spooky horror theme. Watch Sinners.
Yeah, we talked about Sinners last
Gotta
week
go
as well.
watch it. I feel like I gotta go watch it again to
second
fully
time.
appreciate it, which I feel like is kind of what we're getting at here with Kira.
She gotta go
in this
back a
experience.
second time.
She's gotta go back a second time to see if things are the same. But she already mentioned that this is what would you say, one of the most powerful experiences she's ever gone through. I can't remember the exact phraseology. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
I was thinking 4, but I've talked myself into there's probably something there. I am with Killian, though. We talked a lot about child labor, and you set it up as child labor, and I was thinking, some, horror stories with children and some ghosts.
One non-laborer ghost.
A lot of adults, and not a lot of things that would indicate
Child death
or something like that. And maybe that's to say Slater Mill was top notch.
My experience with the ghost selection is it's pretty random, because the only ghost in Lizzie Borden's house is the stepmother, even though the dad got fucking cooked too. And so it's like, what's he doing? He's not making the bed, or he's not, reading the paper or whatever. Also,
because he went straight to hell.
hell yeah, brother. You might have to cut this in case it's too mean. No fucking shot was that Kira's first ghost experience. No fucking chance, brother. Are you kidding me? This is 150th ghost experience. She gets scared when the fucking curtains close too quick. If that's what it took to have a ghost experience, no way. Look, I'm praying for the day we get a 3 on the Bink scale. This is like the clearest one of all time.
That's fair.
For your good friend over here. This is like, you gotta have a little bit of a je ne sais quoi about the place to have a ghost in there. You walked in and got scared and thought there was a ghost. I need like a rising action. I need like something to trigger the haunt. I need a lot
of background.
I need like development haunt. I need like something in the haunt to change the world. Where's the evidence of the haunt? Where's the stuff after?
We got a lot of details, but we didn't get a lot of explanation and connective tissue between, because it was kind of like, I was in this room, and then suddenly I was in this. I followed the group, or did I?
It sort of reminds me of like, if you ever had a kid talk to you, and then 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, they're talking about a fucking TV show. I thought they were talking about school. What the fuck? Like, and that's kind of what it felt like, where I was like, oh, Red Mist. What?
Yeah, no, I do agree that it is there, and it is just kind of like, she had some unknown amnesia, so it's hard to follow, because there's no tying together these details. It's just like they're kind of separate.
She was also kind of fighting the ghosts a lot. I feel like you got to give in.
She was fighting for her life.
She was fighting for the ghost, and I feel like you got to give in and just
I'll give her an extra Bink scale point just for how
if a ghost is haunting me, I'm not gonna like resist. I'm gonna let him do the haunt, let him do the full thing, because they can't kill you; they just scratch you.
Well,
some people like that. Getting
ghosts,
scratched.
Some ghosts could kill you.
Some people get scratched, they're like proud of it, So I think you should let the ghost scratch your back or whatever.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch your ghost back. Well, that brings us to the end of this Slater Mill story. I want to thank our junior binkers for listening. And if you would like to get in contact with us, you can follow us on social media at Ghost Binkers on any social media platform except for Facebook. We hate Facebook. Email us
Fuck you, Zuckerberg.
ghostbinkers@gmail.com. Specifically, argue with Killian.
No.
You know?
Agree with me. Praise me.
Send us a story that we can bink or that you would just like for us to say, and maybe we will not bink it.
I won't make fun of the writing style of submitted binks from people.
That's fair.
That'll be gentle too.
That's fair.
You deserve grace if you email us directly.
Yeah, or if you have a ghost story that you want us to cover that you've heard of, we'd love to cover.
Or if you'd like me to edit your ghost story, or you think that the writing's not sharp enough.
Or yeah,
I'll whip you into fucking shape.
If you have a ghost blog and want us to pre-bink it, so you have something to stand on,
so it can stand up to criticism.
Yeah,
there you go.
We would love to do that. I just actually enjoy the stories, whether or not we make fun of them or not. It's just like a fun time.
Yeah, or if you want me to kill a ghost,
or Killian will kill a Killian will kill a ghost.
I will buy a samurai sword and show up and take the ghost down for you.
He's not screwing around.
You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please do.
We would love 5 stars.
I'd love 6.
Links to the stories can be found in the Ghoulie Bites in our podcast description. And lastly, thank you to the authors of these articles, because without you, we wouldn't really have a podcast. So we appreciate your
detail of the red mist.
Your detail of
Thanks,
the red
Kira.
mist, and giving us something to bink. Otherwise, we'd have to go out and do it ourselves.
Right, and it's a 20-mile drive.
It's a 20-mile drive
As the crow
flies.
On that note, that is our podcast. We will catch you on the next episode. The ghost got me.
It's the energy is
Only you had a button to hide that cough.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me.
Oh God, it made it louder.
Couldn't even hear it.